Welcome back to the show. We are here with Kerry Worden with Green Stream Advisors. We are going to hear all about this exciting concept called a benefit corporation. And Kerry, glad to be talking to you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
Glad to have you. So, benefit corporation. You told me a little bit about it, but it seems like it's a great fit for some people out there as far as being progressive and supporting social change. And so, if someone out there says, "I've heard a little bit about this benefit corporation idea. I need to know more about the pros and the cons and the reasons to do it," then what's the sales pitch? What's the quick spiel about it?
Well, business can be either a force for good or not. You know, there's that saying, if you're not helping, you're hurting. And so if your business has a deeper objective or a deeper purpose, then you can align all of your activities, your advertising, your message to that purpose. And then while you're operating that business, you can make sure that you are actually taking steps to accomplish those goals. The format, or let's say the legal structure of a benefit corporation, is that in your organizing documents, you say what you are going to do. And then annually, you have to produce a report saying what you actually did. And so for mine, it's mostly environmental stuff. There's a company, or it's not actually a company, an organization called, boy, now I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but it's the third party organization who you join with them, and then you have to prove that you are actually walking the walk.
And we mentioned a few times that there's like this cause to have, and there's actions that you say you'll take, and then later on, like, prove that you're taking those actions. And you said that you are focused on environmental activities. And so, like, what does that mean exactly? What specifically about the environment are you up to, and what are you doing?
Well, one part of being a benefit corporation is you support other organizations. The reason my exposure to this, the way I got introduced to the idea, was by a book that Patagonia founder Yvon Chouinard wrote called "Let My People Go Surfing." So if you want to hear all about, somebody who really can talk about all of these ideas, he's the guy. And so to answer your question about what am I doing, I'm supporting organizations like March for Science, Humane Society, Green America is an organization that's, it's not really one that you support, but you can connect with people through there. SOCAP, which is social capital. Smaller organizations, Girls Soccer Worldwide, I support them because they're a local organization here in Livermore, California, and they are promoting girls in countries, particularly where they don't have the opportunity to even play sports, that type of thing. Center for Biodiversity, World Wildlife Fund, on and on, those kinds of things. So that's one aspect, is just supporting other organizations. The reason, and I've been a mortgage broker for 30 years, and in business, you try to stay kind of non-political in a lot of ways, right? We don't want to offend people on one side of the aisle or the other. And I'm sure that some people, if they knew that I had, people in my client base, that I have really strong feelings about the environment and climate change and things like that, they might go somewhere else for their mortgage business. But so, when you do something like this, you really take a position. And I've always wanted to take more of a position, but I was afraid to from a business perspective. So Green Stream Advisors is going to be, it's not actually in operation yet because of COVID, and I just put the whole thing on hold. But Green Stream Advisors will be it's an investment advisor company. And then I also continue with the mortgage business and insurance business. So having three different ways of connecting with people through managing their assets, managing their debt, and managing their risk, I can service more people in more ways and help to get my message out.
And that's kind of cool because like I've been thinking about this every now and then about how like the business you create is in a lot of ways an expression of yourself, right? As far as like what you do and what actions you take, and then when you earn the money, then what do you then later on do with that? And like you like employ people, or how much risk is there? There's quite a bit of like your own self-expression in there, and it seems like so many times there's that kind of question of like, well, like, what am I doing with my life, right? Or like, I built this business, or I did this career to make money, and then now it's time to give back, or like put that money to use, because otherwise it's just a number in a bank account. So there's definitely this need to then like express ourselves in the way of helping out other people. And so you mentioned all those organizations in there. Like I heard like Humane Society in there, and like the girls soccer. And so is there any method to the madness as far as the organizations that you're helping? Do you say like, well, I'm grouping it into these categories, or these causes are related to me because of my own personal experience? Or is it just a matter of whatever comes across your radar? Like why do you choose to help some organizations, some causes over others?
There's resources online where you can look and see how efficient they are, and just the projects that they're working on. So that's part of it. Uh, and then, just the projects that they actually are. If it's something that really catches my attention or my eyes, like, oh, that's really important. Let's, Center for Biodiversity. I don't know, something about their message really resonates with me and the work that they're doing. Girls Soccer Worldwide is, again, just a local company. I know the people, and I really know that they're doing it with heart, and really helping to girls in these small communities in Central America to be able to play sports and be able to grow and associate with other people, and kind of understand that they can be more than maybe what they're being told they can be, locally.
And how did you even get into this? Like you say that there's different things that interest you that you want to help out. But was there ever a time when you did not know about this business structure, or you did not know that you could be doing these things?
Yeah, in fact, when I read the book, I got really excited because, wow, maybe I can do this. See, 30 years ago, I was going to San Francisco State and had the dream of being a documentary filmmaker. Then I met my current wife. We've been together 30 years. She had 2 kids at the time. We've had 2 more. One thing led to the other. There's a movie that everybody watches in film school, Citizen Kane, and there's a line in there where the lawyer for Citizen Kane says something like, make money, anybody can make money, something like that. And if that's all you want to do is make money. So I thought, well, I could go jump in the mortgage business and kind of get my family settled and everything, and then I can get back into what I really care about, documentary films and so forth, and environmental issues. I was raised on wildlife refuges, by the way. My dad was a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service refuge manager, and that's probably why. But one thing led to another, and I just haven't really followed or basically done the things that I feel that I should be as a human being, and that's what I want to do with Greenstream Advisors.
And it seems to be like an important message hidden in what we're talking about here, is just that it is possible to do multiple things at once, and we don't have to wait until old age, until you saved up your huge nest egg to contribute, right? Like you said, like you have the mortgage business happening and the insurance business happening, and this as well. And we don't have to wait, right? We don't have to kick the can down the road 30 years from now. We can say, if I want to contribute and help out with the biodiversity issue or something else, we don't have to, we can begin right now today, right?
Yeah, that's great. If I could tell young people, yeah, you can do that. And I just didn't really realize or know how to do it in all of these years, or didn't really take the time to push it, to make myself do those things that really are more spiritually fulfilling.
And do these businesses that you have connect? Like if you are helping someone with their financial planning, do you float this idea that they can be contributing to this or that, or do people ask you about that? Like, do these connect in any way?
That's one of the big reasons I want to create this company. That's a financial planning company, just so everybody knows it is not licensed yet, right? I got the licensing to do it, but I haven't done the compliance stuff to get the company set up yet because of COVID. I just want to make that clear. But my interest in that is because there's so much more that people can do from a financial planning standpoint, or in other words, on their asset side of their balance sheet than they can on their debt side of their balance sheet, is where I've spent my professional career as a mortgage broker. But from the asset side of it, people can take all kinds of actions. You know, they can invest in companies like there's one called Acre Trader. They're basically raising money for people to grow food more sustainably through no-till farming, all that kind of thing. Green America is another company that does that. There's a lot of and SoCap, it's just social capital. A lot of things a lot of messages that I can get out, a lot of companies or organizations that I can promote with that asset side of the conversation than on the debt side of it. And then insurance is also just another, you can choose the company. In my verbiage in my legal documents, one of the things that I talk about is promoting the companies or working with the companies that, well, it'd be great if they're benefit companies, but if they're not, some even banks. I have a bank account at Bank of the West that gives to 1% for the Planet. That's another organization that I support. And, so the asset side is really an opportunity to interact with people and create change.
And what's cool about the way you describe this is it seems like your financial skills now pay off in a different way. And there's so many times when like I learned something in school or I learned something for this job or this career that then paid off decades later in just like a slightly differently pivoted way. Like you said, like you like dealt with like the debit side of things, and now there's like kind of similar skills, but now being repurposed for a different use. And so you said that like there are some of these things that you like set up. And so is this like a service that you provide or can provide? If someone says, well, I like some of these things that we mentioned about the benefit corporation, are you the kind of person that can plan and execute a lot of this setup?
Set up a benefit corporation for somebody else? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yes.
No, I can direct people to to a good lawyer that I work with, who specializes in sustainable issues. I think it's Sustainable Lawyers Group or something like that. And I can direct you to other information to help you decide that that's what you want to do and how to do it. I can definitely do that. Not that I do it as a business, but just as helping anybody that wants to get started.
And because sometimes that's half the problem, right? It's just like knowing even like where to begin, what steps do I need, who do I need to talk to, things like that. And so before we started recording here, you mentioned a little bit that it seems like there's some steps involved. Like you mentioned, like there's things like compliance, and then also that it might be a little bit of an extra like tax thing to figure out. So can you tell us about maybe like the downsides or like the unforeseen headaches that might sometimes creep in with this this venture?
Well, there's definitely extra work to do because you have to, again, show in a public way what you have done. If you say you're going to do it, then you have to do it. And so you're kind of setting yourself up for a bit of a tax in that time is money, right? So you got to spend time and you got to put these reports together. And then, of course, you have to decide what language you want to put in your articles of incorporation. And you can do it yourself. There are entities out there that will help you, but I would recommend using a lawyer who really has experience in that. It's not that expensive to set up. I don't know, a couple $1,000s or something. And then that's really all there is to it. And then you have to decide. There will be a lot of choices along the way of what you want to do. it's not just environment. There's diversity and inclusiveness, and uh, you know, kind of your structure, how much money is at the top versus how you share the money downstream from as a CEO. There's all those kinds of things that you can weave into it. You don't have to do it all, but there's a lot of ways that you can help business to be better.
And are there any like things to be avoided with this? Because what comes to mind when we're mentioning this topic is there's a like one of the biggest companies in the world just these last few weeks they said they were in support of a certain like racial equality kind of movement, and then they announced their support, but then didn't do much. It was more of like a hollow gesture, and they got a little bit of a hate for that. So is that a concern or a risk in this, in looking really braggadocious and looking like you're trying to get attention and getting the hate for that, or is that just not a real concern?
Well, it's not a concern, I think, if you actually do what you say you're going to do and promote the things you say you're going to promote. There's greenwashing is a terrible thing that happens in corporations, right? We all know that it could be chemical companies, producing all sorts of terrible things, but then they promote one thing that they say they're doing. The energy industry is, of course, one of the worst offenders of all of that. The fossil fuel industry. Think back to tobacco. And then the same thing can happen. I don't know a terminology for it, or greenwashing is from an environmental standpoint, but from a diversity or inclusiveness standpoint, there's probably another term. But yeah, I mean, companies will do all kinds of things to try to say they're walking the walk, but all they're doing is talking. And that's the benefit of being a benefit corporation or dealing with or promoting benefit corporations.
Doing it the right way, doing it in the legally like kind of, I don't know if it's legally binding, but just like it's documented. You're setting up the business structure. It's not just empty words. You're really doing this thing.
That's right. Yeah.
And so what's like the appropriate like scale of this? Like, does someone need to have like tons of money to give away, or can they do it on a small scale? Or like, how do we know if we're kind of the right size business or have the appropriate amount of resources to do this?
Yeah, it can be all, tiny to huge, right? Again, Patagonia is a big company, and I'm three people, so anybody can do it. And of course, the bigger the company, the more impact you have. And I really want to try to grow this company. I don't plan on being a financial advisor for myself, my daily life. I want to find, maybe this podcast might help. I want to find somebody who's as motivated as I am, who has experience in the background to lead the financial advisory side of this company.
And so you're looking for that type of person, specifically someone to lead the financial advisory side of things. And so as far as like anyone else, like what do you want people to know about you and your company, and what sorts of action do you want them to take?
What sorts of actions do I want them to take in their personal lives?
I mean, either like in the personal life, or as far as like reaching out to you and your business. Like, yeah, anything after watching or listening to a conversation. Like, what are the next steps there?
Well, in their personal lives, there's an organization that I've been struggling to remember the name since we've been talking here. That's a list. But if you just Google benefit corporations list or public benefit corporations list, something like that, you'll be able to identify companies that you can work with, and that are benefit corporations. If that's just from your personal standpoint. In terms of working with me, if that's what you're asking, then I'm a mortgage broker. I'm in California. I'm only licensed in California, so that's the business that I'm in currently, and I'm developing these other businesses. So I'm happy to talk to anybody about anything that we've spoken about today. And again, interest rates have been really low, and so it's just been so busy just trying to service the clients that the business that just drops on my desk from like was it Walter that we were talking to earlier that this business is just really busy, so I just haven't had the time to develop this new company in the way that I wanted to. I joined National Speakers Association where I met you to hone this message, and that's really where I'm at with it right now.
Well, fantastic. Well, I hope that you find the time, just like the rest of us, to wear all these hats and do the things that make the money, but also make the difference. And so you mentioned there that it's important to Google benefit corporations list, and there's, I mean, millions of results. There's a whole like Wikipedia page with this whole list. But then if someone says, I liked a lot about what Kerry mentioned, I want to reach out to him on like an email or a phone and have a chit chat. Is there an easy way for people to reach out and contact you for that?
Yeah, sure. My cell phone, 510-999-0539. Or my email address, Kerry at greenstreamadvisors.com, Kerry at greenstreamadvisors.com.
Fantastic. And as we're wrapping up, winding down, do you think we left anything out of our conversation as far as what people need to know about a benefit corporation?
Yeah, well, here I just looked up. It's B Labs. That's the organization that will tell you everything. There's lots of resources. You can go to bcorporation.net or just Google B Labs, or they're the ones who certify you annually, and they have everything you want to know about becoming a benefit corporation or what it means or what you have to do. That's the place to go.
Fantastic. B Labs and Benefit Corporation. It's good to know that this exists, especially if someone out there has wanted to give back or has wanted to align themselves with a cause or many causes. It's super cool that there's all these little organizations out there that are doing all these amazing things. Like it's automatic and it's built in and it's easy to hear about all the bad things in the world, but it's much more helpful to find out what we're doing to combat climate change and biodiversity and hunger and poverty and all those cool things. And so people should be checking out that directory. And then can we get one more time your contact details, so that way after they've done the research, then they can have a chat with you?
My cell phone number is 510-999-0539. And my email address is Kerry, Kerry, at greenstreamadvisors.com.
Fantastic. So once you've done that research, contact Kerry at the very least just to chit chat with him. Maybe he knows someone, or maybe you can run ideas past him, or maybe just say thank you and your podcast episode helped me get pointed in the right direction. So thank you, Kerry, for stopping by. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate your time.